911, do you need police, fire, medical?
Maybe both. I'm not sure. There's just someone screaming outside.
Okay, what's the address that they're near? Okay, and is it a male or female?
It sounds like a male.
And you don't know why?
I don't know why. I think they're yelling help, but I don't know. Just send someone quick. Say stop.
Okay. Does he look hurt to you? Can you see him?
I can't see him. I don't want to go out there. I don't know what's going on. So they're sending.
So you think he's yelling help?
Yes.
All right. What is your phone number?
Charles McKinney. I'm an associate professor of history and director of the Africana Studies program. So let's get into it. We've got a lot of ground to cover. What we're seeing here with the deaths of Trayvon Martin and Renisha McBride and other unarmed African Americans who are being gunned down in the streets, essentially, right, is a continuation of a culture of disregard and disrespect, right? And this is historically based. This is historically rooted. Black bodies have always been treated with a sense of suspicion, have always been treated as a threat, right? This goes back to, we can see this in the slave codes emerging in colonies, right, in Virginia and Maryland, North Carolina. We can see it being codified in the law, right? Anti-loitering legislation, right? You know, no more than 3 of you can be together. We're thinking of you as a threat. We're thinking of you as potentially violent. We're thinking of you as the other, as alienating, right? So we see that. So we see this being codified and manifested legally throughout our history. The other thing that we see going on here is that black bodies and the image, the idea of black bodies as being threats, sort of regardless of context. The other thing that's playing out here, right? Renisha McBride has a car accident and is knocking on a door and gets shot to death because the guy behind 2 locked doors felt threatened. Trayvon Martin is shot to death because the armed individual who encountered him, according to him, because we don't know what Trayvon actually was thinking because he was murdered, right? He felt threatened. Right? Another incident in Charlotte, North Carolina. An African-American gentleman knocking on a door to get some help after a car accident, shot to death. I felt threatened.
Jonathan Farrell, 2 months ago, shot while unarmed while seeking help after a car accident in Charlotte, North Carolina. The police officer who killed him responding to his duty to protect and serve by firing 12 shots, 10 of which found their mark in Jonathan Farrell's body.
So these incidents, right, they're not isolated incidents. They're part of a larger narrative. They're part of a larger cloth that has been woven here in the United States. Even the ways in which these conversations are structured sort of lend themselves to the possibility that these people were threats, right? That these people were somehow maybe deserved what happened to them.
This was not iced tea at all, but was Arizona watermelon fruit juice cocktail. And is it also not true, and please if I'm wrong tell me, that Skittles and this drink, Arizona watermelon fruit juice mixed with cough medicine, is the concoction or the ingredients for something called lean, which is a drink that gets you high, which Trayvon Martin had tweeted about. Is all that true?
Yes, that's all mostly true.
I mean, we don't see these sorts of conversations arise when unarmed white people get shot to death. Right, you know, the conversation that's going to be, you know, the national conversation that will be held in the wake of a 17-year-old white teenager being shot to death, right, will not be a conversation about menace, right, or about imposing figures or alienation or he was a threat. The Jordan Davis case, this guy's going to jail for a really long time, right, but he's going to jail for attempted murder. Right, the 3 people he attempted to murder unsuccessfully, right? He's going to jail for that. But the jury of his peers just couldn't get around the fact that maybe, just maybe, he felt threatened apparently by Jordan Davis, a teenager who never actually got out of the van, who never actually got out of the SUV. Right, there's no actual physical confrontation between Davis and his killer. Right. So, so the jury couldn't, so the jury still had to contend with, hey, you know what, this guy could have been legitimately, felt legitimately threatened, right? And even that dynamic, right? I felt threatened, therefore I murdered him, right? That's a legitimate, that's a legitimate defense when the perceived threat, right? When the real or imagined threat is emanating from a black body. You worry for your children. You worry for your sons as well as your daughters, right? This is something that that impacts men and women, boys and girls. I didn't have the hoodie conversation with my son. I had the be careful conversation, right? Because I'm not quite sure, that it's not the hoodie that's getting people shot. Trayvon Martin didn't have to have on a hoodie for this to happen.
I think the hoodie is as much responsible for Trayvon Martin's death as George Zimmerman was.
This isn't about fashion, right? This is about race. This is about black bodies, right? And what adorns those black bodies may be a part of the conversation, but that's not what's driving these issues.
I know exactly what the media will say. There will be two sides to their story of me. One side will point out my successes and my triumphs and my victories. But then a few days, or with this technology, a few hours later, will come various pictures or videos from my social media accounts or friends, supposed friends, that will be showing me in compromising situations. The latter will become my new shaped narrative.
You shot me.
This is because it sells.
So now how will my story be told?
And
who will tell it?
And basically it
will
will
they talk
justify
about me as an
injustice.
angry black woman?
Just like Trayvon
Will they
and
talk
Jordan,
about me as an immigrant
I
in this
will
country?
be a black man,
Or would they talk
seen
about me in my
suspicious,
broken home?
whose agency,
All of which does
story
nothing
and narrative,
but assign me as a
everything
number.
will boil down to nothing.
Or
else.
would they see me as a too goody two shoes?
But here's what I want you to
The
know.
child that
I am
never
not
did
perfect,
drugs
but again,
and
who
started
is?
drinking at the age of
I
22.
lived and tried to live life to the
Would they
full.
see me as a first
I was
generation
oppressed
college
by
student?
various systematic
With a family
factors
of
that limited who I
hard-working
could
legal
be,
immigrants
by
chasing
systems that
the
actively
American
worked
dream.
against me every single
None
day
of
of my
these
life.
is my
I
story.
was constantly pressured by
The
others,
story
but
of the
mainly
girl
by
brought
myself,
to the
to be
United
perfect. I was
States
human
as
friction.
with no
And this is my
knowledge
story.
of its
And my story is mine. into a status
But
that was
unfortunately,
higher than my own
because
that
of
found
stupidity,
passion
that was not my
in
ignorance,
languages.
privilege. I
that
love
was
idiocracy,
biased,
hate of others. My story is going to be shattered forever. Through my personal
girl who
interactions,
will
what
go
you
through
will
highs
hear
and lows
is not
for
this.
those
You
who
try to
love
know me
happiness
as
to the
Kundwani.
And
You
the
will know
girl
me as the
who was
other
empowered
black kid
and loved
who
his skin
died
color.
because he deserved it.
Would you tell that story? Probably not. Because you shot me. You shot me because you're scared of my color and what you thought that meant about me. So now, you will never get to hear my story.